Hey guys, what's up? This is White Boy for the win, and welcome back to Why Mega Evolve. Now, earlier last week we talked about Mega Drapion, and today we're going to be talking about Mega Swellow. But before we get started, let me just give you guys a brief explanation of what this series is about. Now, every week I will be picking two Pokemon that either need a Mega Evolution, deserve a Mega Evolution, or I want a Mega Evolution for. Now, this is based off my opinion alone, and no one else's. Now, if you guys do not like my opinion, then please post your opinions in the comment section down below about what would you keep, what would you change, and etc. And at the end of every video, I will be telling you guys which Pokemon we're going to be talking about the following day. So with that said, here is Mega Swellow. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, Swellow is one of the best bird Pokemon, or should I say the beginning bird Pokemon when it comes to like Pokemon games. I absolutely love Swellow. It's literally my second favorite, like I said, bird Pokemon that you pretty much get to start out at the beginning of the game. Kind of like Starly, Pidove, Fletchling, like those types of Pokemon. But like Swellow is literally my second favorite one. Coming in first is Pidgeot, but that's besides the point. Now, I would love to see this thing get a Mega Evolution just because, like, if you look at what tier it's in, you would think that, like, with the ability and, like, it gets, like, you would think that this thing will be in a higher tier, considering that with this thing getting access to Guts, you would think, like I said, like, this thing will be in a higher tier, probably UU at like the highest, I would say, just because, like I said, it does get access to Guts. You can use Toxic or Flame, or just use Protect and pretty much go on an onslaught of like physical type attacks. But once again, I guess you would say that what's kind of holding it back, it's probably its defenses, just because it's like a really frail Pokemon. And I know I always bring this Pokemon up, but it's pretty much like the best like Pokemon I can come up with off the top of my head for like a frail Mega, and that's Mega Absol. So I can actually see like Mega Swellow being like Mega Absol, going on a onslaught of like attacks, and then ends up dying the next turn, considering that its defenses are literally piss poor. And when I mean piss poor, if Swellow gets a Mega like this, what stats I've given it, it's probably going to be like the most frailest Mega we have. But once again, I would love to see this thing get a Mega Evolution just because I feel like it needs it, and also design wise, because like Swellow's design already, it looks so amazing like as it is. So I would like to see what its Mega form would look like. Now, before I actually discuss what I've changed, obviously I only changed two things, so this video might be a little bit shorter than others because there's only a couple things I actually have to talk about. So once again, I do apologize if this is a little bit shorter than others. But once again, as you can tell from what I've changed on Swellow, I only changed two things, and that's pretty much its attack stats. Now, for its physical attack, I increased it from base 85 to base 125. Now, the reason why I increased it to base 125 was because, obviously, I increased its special attack, but that's it for, I'll talk about that in a couple seconds. But, once again, Swellow as itself already can hit hard without, like, the Toxic Orb or anything like that, and I feel like base 125 physical attack is going to be pretty decent for it, because it's mostly a physical attacker. I mean, this thing gets access, I think, to Brave Bird. If is it a breed move? Yes, it is a breed move. This thing gets access to Pursuit. What else does this thing get? My page kind of just went haywire. But this thing gets access, like I said, to Pursuit, Sky Attack, which is actually pretty good, Steel Wing. I mean, this thing does get access to a very good variety of a move pool. And for like normal type moves, you would normally run on like a Swellow. If I'm not mistaken, you would run like Return. I don't know anything else that you would probably run on this thing. Probably Quick Attack for priority. But once again, like I've used Swellow in the past, but I really haven't used it like on an actual team before. But I know Swellow can put in the work. And since this is a Mega Evolution, it doesn't have Guts, because I'll talk about that in a couple of seconds, but like I wanted to actually give it a really good high physical attack, that way it doesn't have to like worry about Guts or anything like that. So I feel like base 125 for its physical attack would actually be really good. Now, for its special attack, I know a lot of people are probably going to start hating on this, but I increased it from base 50 to base 110. Now, the reason why I've done that, and the only couple of reasons why I've done that, was because this thing gets access to Boom Burst, and with Swellow being part normal, Boom Burst is going to have it's gonna be part stab. It's base 140 base damage plus with base 110 special attack that I've given to a Mega Swellow. That thing is just gonna be doing a fuck ton of damage, literally a fuck ton of damage. And the one thing I really like about Boom Burst is that it doesn't have a recharge turn after, like kind of like how Giga Impact and Hyper Beam has. So Boom Burst is pretty much your next best thing on being probably the best special normal type move that you will probably run on this thing. And I know special Swellow is sort of a thing because whatever tier that it's in, I can't remember which tier it's in off the top of my head, because it's not like, oh, I know what tier Swellow is in every single day of the week. No, like whenever I want to use Swellow, whenever I'm like pretty much when I want to use Swellow, I look up like what tier it's in and all that. But once again, I have no idea what tier it's in, and I feel like this thing is just going to be a fucking amazing Mega in that tier. It's probably going to have to be bumped up a tier or two because of like its stats. Like this thing is just going to be obliterating everything, but also like this thing gets access to Boom Burst. This thing also gets access to Heat Wave, which is actually, in my opinion, one of the best moves in the game. And pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, all the bird Pokemon learn Heat Wave. So it's like, okay, there's a couple special moves that this thing can actually work from. So I think Heat Wave is actually a very good coverage move, because in that way, with this thing being part flying and normal, you can actually run that as a coverage move, because Steel type Pokemon can literally wall you out unless you're running Pursuit or something like that. So Heat Wave is actually a good coverage move. This thing does get access to Ominous Wind, which is actually going to be very decent, because if you guys don't know what Ominous Wind does, it's pretty much the ghost type move of Ancient Power. You have like, I think like 10% chance of all of your stats getting increased by one stage. I mean, I've actually used Ominous Wind on a couple of Pokemon before, and it literally, like, I got the boost a couple of times, and it's so fucking good. But also, like I said, like, I wanted to make this thing somewhat of a special Pokemon as well, kind of pulling off of Mega Pidgeot, because this thing gets access to Heat Wave, Ominous Wind, Boom Burst, Air Slash, like moves that you would normally run on like a special variant for a bird. And I feel like Swellow can actually pull it off with base 110 special attack. You can make this thing like a mixed attacker, pretty much just running like running Brave Bird, Pursuit, Quick Attack, and then not Quick Attack, but like probably like Return, and then run one of the coverage moves, probably most likely Heat Wave for pretty much getting rid of the Steel types, because I know Steel is going to be pretty much hard to get rid of, just because the Steel types really wall Swellow really well. So I feel like a special Swellow can actually really work, in my opinion. So with base 110 special attack, I can see this thing putting in a lot of work with the tier that it's in now. Now, I'm sorry that I've only increased like its physical attack and special attack, because for a couple of reasons, its physical defense and special defense are literally piss poor frail. So even if I do increase it, it's still going to be piss poor frail, so I didn't want to increase them at all. And its speed being a base 125, I feel like its speed stats already is fast enough, so I want to actually benefit its other two stats, its physical attack and special attack, and make this thing a very offensive attacker, being both physical and special. So with, like I said, this is how I actually see Swellow with its base stats. So if you guys don't agree, I do apologize. But anyways, as a regular Swellow, its base stats at 430, and with the Mega Evolution, it's going to be at 530. Now for its ability, I decided to give this thing Scrappy. Now I know a lot of people are probably going to be saying, oh, why didn't you just give this thing Guts? Well, if I give this thing Guts, how are you going to benefit from it? Because you have to hold your Mega Stone to Mega Evolve, and you can't like run like a Flame Orb or a Toxic Orb on this thing. You pretty much have to be out predicting your opponent to pretty much get status enablement onto Swellow. So there really is no reason to actually keep Guts on this thing, but instead I decided to go with its hidden ability Scrappy, because in that way this thing will be able to hit ghost types, and with this thing being part normal, this thing will be able to get stabbed off of the ghost type Pokemon. This thing won't pretty much get walled out by a ghost type Pokemon, rather than just hitting it with like bird type attacks or just pretty much any coverage move to get rid of the ghost types. So I feel like Scrappy is just an amazing ability for a Swellow, just because in that way this thing can hit pretty much every single typing in the game. And like I said, I think it's a really good ability for a Mega Swellow. And for its typing, I just left it alone as flying normal. Once again, there's no reason for me to change it. It gets flying type moves that can benefit from that typing. Obviously it is a bird, so getting rid of its flying typing will be pretty stupid. And for keeping its normal type, like I said, most of the moves that it does get are normal type moves, so this thing can benefit from its normal typing, so that's why I left it as flying normal. So with all that said, Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to comment and subscribe. I know this video was a little bit shorter than others, but once again, there was only a couple things I can actually talk about. So, like I said, I do apologize. But anyways, the next Pokemon we are going to be talking about, and once again, we're jumping right back into 4th Gen because I just really wanted to talk about Swellow. I've been meaning to talk about this Pokemon for a while now, and I finally had the chance to do it. But once again, like I said, we're going to be jumping back into 4th Gen, and we're going to be talking about one of the most underrated Pokemon from VGC. I believe it's from 2014, and that is Pachirisu. So yes, we are going to be talking about Pachirisu, I believe this Friday. Yes, this Friday we're going to be talking about Mega Pachirisu. So with all that said, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to comment and subscribe. So this is White Boy for the win, and I'll catch you guys later.